many times you're asking yourself, what's the proper length backswing for my swing? Well, guess what? It depends on the golf club, and it's going to change with each club. And what I mean by that is, and you can see I've got 3 clubs here. This is a pitching wedge, this is a 6-iron, and this is a driver. And when you see these 3 clubs, all 3 of these clubs have different heights. So this is Kareem Abdul-Jabbar right here. This is, let's say that's Jordan, and this is Muggsy Bogues right here, okay? We've got 3 different heights in these 3 clubs. And what's gonna happen is this: as a result of these 3 clubs having different heights, we posture to the clubs differently. So when I get set up to hit this wedge, the lie angle of this wedge is more upright than the lie angle of that driver. And as a result, when I get a more upright iron, but it's shorter, I'm going to be bent over a little bit more. So my pitching wedge, when I get set up to hit this, I have a little bit more waist bend with a pitching wedge than I do with a driver. When I have a driver, I'm a little bit taller. So as a rule of thumb, as we change the amount of waist bend, we affect how much flexibility we have in the body. So if I'm bent over like this and I swing the club, my range of motion isn't going to be great because my hips can't rotate. When I stand up this way, now that my hips are parallel to the ground, now I have a tremendous range of motion. I can overturn my body. So what happens is when I get a driver in my hand and I stand up tall like this, I'm gonna have a tremendous range of motion. The length of the backswing is gonna be very, very, very long. So what I would tell you is this: 1, we do want a longer backswing with a driver than we do with a pitching wedge. But 2, and most importantly, what you want to pay attention to is, if I have a very long backswing going on with my pitching wedge, it's probably because I've postured to the ball incorrectly. And so what we would do with a pitching wedge with poor posture is a lot of knee flex, our waist is very level to the ground, and now what's going to happen is that I'm going to have a lot of range of motion there. The other thing that happens is we tend to collapse the arms. As we collapse the arms, that creates a very long backswing. We want to make sure that we have some width in those arms. So what I want you to pay attention to is, when you have varying distances that the club is traveling based on the individual club itself, I want you to look at what you're doing with your posture. As far as if I have too long a swing, I might want to add a little bit more waist bend. If I don't have a long enough swing, I want to take some waist bend out of this. That's going to create a little bit more range of motion. And if I have too long a swing, I want to look at my brace here of my arms. And remember that as we brace those arms, as they get a little bit straighter, that's going to help shorten that backswing. And if we want a little bit more length in that swing, what we would want to do then is let the wrists hinge a little bit more. That wrist hinge is going to let this hinge a little bit farther, and the club's going to travel a little bit farther. So if I had a short pitching wedge swing, but I wanted to create some distance, I'm going to grip that club a little bit stronger, let it hinge, and then I'm going to get a good clean strike there. So pay attention to what you're doing in your pre-swing here when you're paying attention to the length that this club is going.